I'm here with Chase Stokes and Sydney Taylor. Thank you both so much for joining me today. Loved the movie. It was such a great romance while also being a really touching story about family, friendship, and grief and loss. Chase, would you be able to give us a brief overview of what the movie is about? And Sydney, maybe you could add why fans should go see it.
Ooh, all right, Sid, you might have to catch some bullet points for me as I probably screw this up.
I got you.
This movie is follows a character by the name of Rule Archer. Takes place 3 years after his twin brother has tragically passed, and he is carrying a lot of the weight and responsibility for his brother's death. And a very close family friend, played by Sydney Taylor over here by the name of Shaw. They kind of have always been in each other's orbit, but never really given each other the time of day. And the film sort of follows them falling in love in a very, in a way that I don't think either of them was expecting or anticipating. And it sort of highlights two people who share a lot of commonality, but don't necessarily allow it to be perceived as commonality, and two people who don't want to put their walls down and help each other kind of find a way to sort of lower the drawbridge, let each other in on life.
I think you killed that. I think
Yeah.
people go see the movie because, at least for me, in reading the script and shooting it and experiencing it as a whole, there was so much relatability that I found in even just the things that you mentioned, the friendships, the relationship, romantically, I just felt that the way that it was written felt very realistic. We were talking about earlier today, a scene between Ella and my character's roommate, where like there's like a big debrief session after the night where like you sit down with your friend and you talk about everything and everything that you're worried about and everything that you're like, that was so exciting and so fun. And I just think that that scene was so lovely and encompasses the friendship so well. And there's so many scenes that encompass the relationship so well and the difficulties of it and the complexities and the lovelies of it. Like I just feel that there's so many different aspects of this film that people could relate to, and I hope that everyone finds something that's in it for them.
That was actually one of my questions about the friendship because I felt like it was such a great example of female friendship, and you said it so perfectly, like the debrief session after a night out or whatever it may be. What was it like building the community on set? And did you know any of the other cast members beforehand, or how did you guys kind of build that chemistry all together?
I didn't know anyone beforehand. I had met Chase in the audition process, and then everybody else I met in Bulgaria a couple weeks into filming. Me and Chase had gotten there first, and then they brought everybody else in as they sort of finished the casting process. But it was so easy. Like the cast got along so well. They're like, I think our all of our personalities mixed really nicely of like when we're all together, it's such a fun vibe. Everybody, like the days where everybody's on set are like the most fun. And some days when you have a lot of actors on set, it can be a wreck. But I just feel like with this movie, everybody was so down to try things, so down to be fun, even just within a scene and try different things was incredible and something you don't get to see a lot. And we're all friends outside of the movie. The group chat is alive and well.
Firing
Um,
off.
alive and well, so good.
Love that.
I love them all.
A lot of the movie takes place in a tattoo parlor. Did anyone actually get a tattoo on set?
Yes, unfortunately for him, Adam, who plays Jasper in the film,
Big
allowed
boy.
cast to give him a tattoo, and I feel so much guilt for how bad I butchered part of this tattoo. We all kind of did like our own little, line on it.
All the tattoo people, I had no hand in how awful this tattoo is. When I tell you it's awful, you really messed up.
I want to pay for a cover up.
You should.
It will. But yeah, Adam got a tattoo. We did like tattoo training while we were there, and I very quickly realized that I'm not a tattoo artist. I'm an actor, and I play pretend for a living. So
How was it finding the tone kind of between that, the funnier friendship and romance stuff that's a little bit more lighthearted and some of that deeper stuff about the grief and the loss that drives the most of the characters?
I feel like a lot of the lightheartedness heartedness really came alive on set, actually. A lot of it wasn't in the script. The script was not leaning towards funny. Any comedic line that was brought alive on set and within a scene, and I think that everybody did it so lovely and so naturally. It gave such a nice realism to the movie, and that I think that that was so beautiful to incorporate all of the lightness into some really serious topics was done super well.
Marked Men was directed by Nick Cassavetes, who directed several other notable films, including The Notebook. What was it like working with him?
Obviously, The Notebook is like this iconic piece of cinema history, but he has, also films like Alpha Dog, and we saw God as a Bullet in Bulgaria before it came out. And so I think Nick is just like, in his core, he is an artist and he's a storyteller. And going into a project like this that really, really, you really need to rely on your director to make sure that this story is told accordingly. He's the best at it, and he is a giant softie. I'm just so thankful that he, in the same way as Sid and I decided to join this film, that he also connected with the material and wanted to go on this ride. So it's like a lifetime type of situation where you get to work with somebody like that. So
At Fathom, we really value the theatrical experience and love to ask all our guests, do you both have a memorable or favorite movie theater experience?
I love going and seeing they do Coraline a lot at movie theaters, like around Halloween time, and that's one of my favorite movies. So I always go see that, and it's always so special. I make a whole thing of it, and like I get there super early, and I watch all the trailers, and I wear a fun Halloween shirt. I get really into it.
We did Coraline this year, actually. I got to work on that, so it was so fun.
I was
But
there.
be that you went, that's great.
look at that. It's energy. I mean, like, I've always loved, I think the experience of going and seeing a movie in theaters will always supersede sitting in bed and having the small screen experience. So I don't have one in particular, but I went to the Hollywood Cemetery and I watched Chicago with a large group of people, and everybody was singing and dancing and quoting the film as it was happening. And it was just such a magical experience. And I think going with a group of people is a form of connection and community. And I think more times than not, you always leave the cinema feeling a little bit better and a little bit more positive about life. And it is a little bit of escapism. It allows us to get out of our own way for an hour to 3 hours, or 3.5 hours if you're Christopher Nolan. But it's just a beautiful way of getting away from the world for a little bit.